Uh, Hi, um, this is first talk for me too, so slightly nervous. Quick show of hands, how many of you are hungry? I know. Good news, me too. So this is going to be quick. Uh, yeah, so what I'm here to talk about is called Project Planton. It's an open source project that I've been working on for like close to 2 years now. Um, so yeah, you can install it. It's a CLI only right now, but there is soon going to be a web app. I'll talk about it in a bit. So who am I? My name is Swarup Donepudi. I worked as cloud engineer for maybe 13 years. I moved to India last year. I was, uh, I was living in San Francisco before that, working as cloud engineer. I quit my job 2 years ago. I started building a DevOps platform. So I had to move to India to get family support so that I can focus on my startup, right? And the talk that I'm here for is again Project Planton. So, well, what is Project Planton? So it's a multi-cloud deployment platform. So what do I mean by multi-cloud deployment platform? So let's imagine you have this scenario, right? You want to deploy Postgres at your company. It could be AWS, it could be GCP, it could be Kubernetes or Azure, right? And then you figure all of that out, like you learn how to deploy AWS, which by the way you can do it in like multiple ways, right? You can go onto AWS console, click a few buttons, or you start learning Terraform, write Terraform, and then say you move to your company too, right? And you're asked to do the same thing all over again, like, hey, can you get us a Postgres database? Like, if you are lucky, you would have taken a backup of your code, maybe somewhere, right? And then doing that at the second company might be slightly easier because you have learned it, you have some code, Terraform code that you brought along, etc. So, I mean, that's the problem that we are trying to solve, right? This is the scenario that I explained. What is challenging about doing the same thing, even if it was on same cloud, is obviously you cannot reuse the code that you wrote at your previous company. Like imagine you're doing this in development. You could have published that as a library to npm or pypy or whatever, and then you could import that. So basically, what I'm trying to say is development has shareable proper patterns, but infrastructure doesn't. Well, Terraform registry does kind of solve some of it, but still you won't use the modules from Terraform registry, you will start over. So now let's take a look at how Project Planton solves this problem. Project Planton, well, yeah, maybe a better slide would be next. So again, let's take the same scenario again, but let's try with how it would look with Project Planton. Again, it's a CLI only right now, right? So you do brew install Project Planton. So you have the CLI on your laptop, and you would write a manifest that would look more or less like a Kubernetes manifest. But this manifest is Project Planton's specification. And what you would do is you will basically run kubectl apply like command, but it is Project Planton apply. Okay, so you have the configuration, you're applying it, right? But who is going to deploy? Like this is configuration, but somebody needs to orchestrate. So Project Planton will basically assume that you already have Terraform or Tofu CLI installed on wherever you are running this. So Project Planton takes this configuration, hands it off to either, let's keep things simple. Let's imagine you have Terraform on your laptop. It takes this configuration and hands it off to Terraform to deploy that. But Terraform by itself doesn't know how to deploy this, right? You're writing that Terraform logic, like the IAC code, HCL, right? So However, in case of Project Planton, right off the bat, you don't have to write the Terraform code, because Project Planton will have a default Terraform module which knows how to deploy Kubernetes on Postgres. So it works out of the box. As long as you have Terraform installed and Kubernetes kubectl configured on your laptop, this will get you a Postgres database on your Kubernetes. Now, again, you want to deploy Postgres on AWS. So again, similarly looking manifest. The structure is same, right? But the configuration is again not. This configuration depends on what is needed for AWS. Okay, but the structure remains the same. You have the API version, blah blah blah, and all that. And how you deploy, again, same thing. Now, where is the Terraform code for this? It's in the same repository as Project Planton, and Project Planton CLI knows how to download that Terraform module, pass this input there. Which AWS account will this get deployed to? Whichever you configure in the environment, like AWS access key, blah, 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 right? Or STS token key. Now, Postgres on GCP. Again, same exact stuff, but this configuration is what GCP would need, right? And that should look identical, right? So that is what I mean by consistency. So the experience, imagine this doing the same thing without Project Planton. You're doing either AWS CLI, AWS console, you're looking at like different places, right? So we try to bring that consistency. I mean, I started working on Kubernetes like 2016, big fan of Kubernetes. So I tried to bring Kubernetes experience, the simple experience that you have like kubectl apply -f and you get anything, right? So trying to bring that to the multi-cloud deployments. Well, I think I told you well, why did we even build this in the first place is, as I told you, I quit my job, I started building a DevOps platform. So the DevOps platform needed the layer to deploy infrastructure, and for our platform, it is very important that whatever deployment mechanism we provide to our customers, they need to be like super familiar with the configuration and how, and also give them an escape hatch. Like if they want to leave the platform, they can actually use a Project Planton. That's how we designed it. So they come, they use our platform, they deploy all of their infrastructure. They want to leave, we give them all of the manifest, which is what I showed, and they can use Project Planton to continue deploying, and they don't have to use us. So that's the story. Again, same thing. A few technical design choices we made are one of the problems that I faced as a DevOps engineer while deploying all of this infrastructure is obviously when you are filling the configuration, depending on the provider, each field has a lot of validations. Like you can't do, -1 GB, right, for memory. That's not a valid input. So Project Planton will help you. As soon as you do Project Planton apply -f, it rejects the manifest because you did -1 GI. So yeah, protocol buffers. I don't know how many of you are familiar with protobuf, but all the configuration that I showed you is all part of the same open source repository, and all the configuration has lots of validation to basically prevent you from, say, you apply and then the whole module executes, and then 10-15 minutes later you see that, oh, you put in a wrong configuration. So this will give you like, oh, in an instant it will tell you that it's wrong, and it will give you what field failed. Also, choosing protocol buffers basically gives us multi-language SDKs automatically. So what this will help us do is, say you like what you saw so far, you want to build your own internal developer platform, you can import the language, so whichever language you choose to build your internal developer platform, you can import all of the work from Project Planton so that you get the same configurations, etc. So you don't have to start from scratch. In fact, we leverage all of this for our own platform. And second decision is Project Planton the first product or first project that tried to solve this multi-cloud consistency? No. Like cross-plane, there is cross-plane. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Crossplane, but what I showed you is same thing. You can do it with Crossplane, but Crossplane requires Kubernetes cluster upfront. So the conscious choice we made is you don't need to have Kubernetes control plane to get started. Instead, rely on the popular CLI tools so that getting started is easy. And so when to use Crossplane and when to use Project Planton is, again, if you are already on Kubernetes, Crossplane is a better choice. And if you don't like Kubernetes and just want to get started and you want to just deploy one database, I think Project Planton is a better choice. So we have 100 plus components already, and all of them are part of the same open source one repository. Every component will have a folder in the open source repo, and it will have the configuration tests and examples and the IAC code that we wrote for it, Pulumi and Terraform. So, okay, I told you the differences between those two. So yeah, what do I want you guys to do is probably get involved, see if you like the project, give it a star, and if you end up liking what you see and start using it, we are happy to see bugs reported. And what's next is we are actually working on building a web app. So with a couple folks that we spoke, they are like, okay, we like what we saw, but can it be not just CLI only? Can we actually get a web app, a database, so that you walk away from here, you do Docker Compose up, or in ECS you can deploy Project Planton, you get a web app, and you can connect the database, so that when your devs do Project Planton apply, it gets stored to your database. You can visualize and store deployment history. So that is all we are building, and it's like in a beta stage right now. So if you are interested in trying out the web app, please reach out. Again, this is all part of the open source. I'm not trying to sell anything. Okay, and yeah, if you want to reach out, that's my email, swarup@donepudi.me. So thank you.